have a massive goal that you know you are never, ever, ever going to hit. And that is your life. That is your compass for life. You know, for me, goals are like planets, right? And the bigger the planet, the bigger the gravity, the more the pull. So the bigger your goal, the more you're going to be pulled to get there. And so I say in life, have a massive goal you're never going to hit. Because when you hit your goal, what happens next? Where do you go after that? So I'd say have a massive life mission, something you really want to achieve, which is so big you know you'll never hit it. And the journey of life isn't to hit the goal, but it's the person you become along the way. Because the thing is that when you look at people who've hit their goals, like look at astronauts, right? A lot of the astronauts, once you've been to the moon and back, what the hell else is there to do? And then, you know, other things like there's drugs and there's alcohol and there's depression. Why? Because you're not driven. Because when you've hit the biggest thing in the world, then what do? So my point is, number one, have a massive goal that you know you are never, ever, ever going to hit. And that is your life. That is your compass for life. And that's what's going to drive every decision you make. Because when anyone asks you to do something, when you have to make a decision, it's easy then because you map it against your goal. Will it help me get there? If the answer is yes, then say yes. If the answer is no, then say no. 100% get a mentor. 100% get a mentor, get a coach. You can't go on this journey on your own, or you can, but it may take you many years to get there. Someone who's already been on that journey can help you get there in a very short period of time. I remember I was in LA and I was speaking in LA and I met a coach in the room, and there were 4,000 people, but there was one coach in the room and he was kind of the €1 million coach. He was charging people €1 million to coach them one-on-one. And then he said, well, how can I help you? And I said, look, I need help, right? I've got 1 year left before I have to go back to dentistry. I have this much money left and I need to grow this business. I need to be able to grow my coaching and my speaking business. And I don't know how you charge $1 million. And he was like, well, you need me to coach you. He goes, and I said, well, there's no way in the world I could afford you. And he goes, well, you're just going to give up like that? And I said, you know, what do you want me to do? I can't afford €1 million for you to coach me. And as I was walking away, he said to me, look, Mahmood, I've got another thing I can give you. He said, I coach people in a group and it's much less than $1 million, but it's still a hell of a lot of money to me at that point. And he said, why don't you come along? And I looked at him and I said, that's too much, I can't do that. I go, I've just, you know, sold in my clinic, I've got 1 year's worth of income. And I said, hold on, maybe there is a way. And he said, how? And I said, look, you know when my dad passed away, my dad left me X amount of money. And everything which you're asking me to give you, that's exactly what my dad left me. And he looked at me and said, Mahmood, let me coach you now. And I said, what? And he said, you are so emotionally attached to money that you'll never let go of it. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, look, right, your dad's your dad, your money's your money, you've put the two together. And he goes, everyone in life, they're so emotionally attached to money, whether it's your savings account, your mortgage account, whatever. We just don't want to let go of it. But he goes, invest in yourself and that'll grow. And at that point, you know, like sometimes, you know, I always say that life isn't linear, right? What someone may learn in a minute could take someone 10 years to learn. And for me, I learned something there which I hadn't learned for the last 35 years. And what I learned then is I am so emotionally attached to money that I've got such an attachment to money that I wasn't able to let go of it. And I looked at him and said, if I invest in you, then can you promise me that you'll get me to where I want? And he said, where do you want to get to? And I gave him, you know, a multiple 6-figure digit that I want to get there within 1 year. And he looked at me and he smiled. He said, yeah, 100% I'll get you there, but it's about you. It's if you put in the hard work. And I said, I'm in. And he said, okay, fine. And he said, look, you know, because you've taken this big step for you, then, you know, I'm going to give you something extra. And then he took me to France within the next week and he coached me with some other people there. And the point is that within 9 months, I made back 10 times what I invested in him in year 1. What that showed me is the importance of having mentors and coaches in your life. You know, he was someone who was able to change my life completely, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I'd be back, you know, fixing people's teeth. And so my advice to everyone out there is get a mentor, get a coach. Get someone, you know, who can help you, someone along the way.